Hey guys, welcome to the Psychology of Sex and Gender class. So this class is taught asynchronous online. So you'll see this face a lot lecturing with particular material. So I just wanted to walk you very quickly through the syllabus and through the course design. Okay, so the syllabus, as you can see in this particular recording, this is in student view. So it's got a lot of extra color you guys won't have, hopefully. So our assistant instructor, my co-instructor for this class, is Leilani Bomer, and here's her contact information. My contact information is here. Now, if you are trying to email me or Leilani usually gets her Canvas messages pretty quickly. For me, it's a 48-hour to sometimes 72-hour delay between the time you hit send in Canvas and the time I received it. We've looked into it repeatedly. Nobody can figure out why that is, but it's a thing. So please email me directly to my university email address. I tend to get that much quicker. So the course description is here. The method of instruction, this is going to be online. We're going to have some videotapes that we're going to ask you to read. There's going to be some online lecturing we're going to do. And there's a lot of reading and quizzes going on. So here's the textbooks. Here's some suggested materials and supplemental readings. Now, you'll find that some of the quizzes are based on articles, not on your textbooks. And so it's important for you to keep track of, wait, is the reading due this week on an article or is it due on a book chapter? So the goals and objectives of the course are here. And notice our late work. If we don't accept late work, if there's an emergent issue, then you need to get with us sooner than later and tell us what the emergent issue is, and then we'll do what we can to accommodate you. So one of the reasons why we've kind of had to crack down on this is because I've been very generous in the past, students have saved up and procrastinated all of their late work until the end of the semester. And then during the faculty's busiest time, suddenly I am that much more busy because there's the expectation then that I will work to handle other people's makeup work. So I can't do that anymore. So no late work will be accepted unless it's an emergency. So you get in a car accident, you're rushing your kid to the hospital, all of that is emergency. If it's, I'm just not feeling up to it and I'm procrastinating, that's not an emergency. So therefore, I won't be able to accept those assignments or help you make up those quizzes. So here's the plagiarism policy. Don't plagiarize. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to go over this really quick is because there are two types of quizzes every week in this particular course. One set of quizzes are called reading quizzes. These reading quizzes are where you have read the chapter or article for the week, chapters or articles, because sometimes there's more than one, and you read a basic quiz and take a basic quiz here on Canvas about what you've read. Like, did you read it and did you comprehend it, is what the quiz is about. And so then the lecture quizzes are, have you watched the videos for the week? So every video that I post will have a short 3-question quiz associated with it, and we'll usually have about 3 videos a week posted between what I do and what you do. So now we'll get to modules in a second because that's where you'll find all of this. Now we're going to ask you to have some online writing fellow meetings. One of the things that I've found is when writing fellows are involved in helping students with the process of writing, the papers that we get are much clearer and much easier to grade. And it also helps the students become better writers. So it's win-win. So here are the instructions. You are required to participate in writing fellow meetings, and the instructions here as well as how much the points are worth. Now, we haven't decided the exact due date for this, but I'd like you to notice a theme. Friday, 11:59 p.m., Friday, 11:59 p.m. You will find that we are trying to make sure that when your assignments are due is extremely predictable. So when we do figure out a due date for the writing fellows, and this will be in the draft of the syllabus, that this will be done the first day of class. Well, we will have the exact due date figured out. That it'll also be Friday by midnight, okay? So that doesn't mean that the writing fellows are available late into the evening. Here's the rubric that we use for grading your papers. So please read through that and become familiar with it. Now, there is your first major paper that is due is an interesting paper in that you get to choose 5 topics from the following list of 14 topics, and you get to write one coherent paper covering all of this material. So this is your major midterm paper. We don't have a midterm exam in this class, but you do have a midterm paper. And so you get to read through these questions very carefully and then write the most coherent essay you can covering all 5 of these issues. So one of the things that's confusing for many students when they start taking classes of this sort is one of the things that I strongly emphasize in all of my classes is you as the person who is doing the interpreting, you as the person doing the assessing, you need to be very clear on what your assumptions and beliefs are, okay? And so oftentimes, depending on where you live, issues around sexuality and gender are considered highly controversial. And here in Utah, to be frank, this is one of the places I've lived where issues of sex and gender are somehow significantly more controversial than other places that I've lived. But they're controversial in every direction. And so it's very interesting. And so it's very important for us to get a hold on what our assumptions are and what our beliefs are. So we've asked questions that many people don't necessarily consider in their day-to-day life, but actually have played a tacit role in many of their relationships with friends, family, strangers, colleagues, coworkers throughout their days. Okay, so therefore these questions are touching on issues that are always already going on, but oftentimes we don't think explicitly about. So you'll find that very little research is needed in your midterm paper because it's mostly about what you assume and believe. And you're not graded on whether or not I agree with you, because trust me, we're not going to agree. And the agreement isn't important. What's important is that you articulate yourself well. That's far more important in discourse compared to whether or not I agree with you. And so you're going to be presenting your particular position, not to argue with me or anybody else, but just to explain your point of view. And how clearly and how well you do that is mostly what your grade is based on. That's that cogency part. How clear and compelling is your argument, okay? Now, this is where things might get tricky for some of you, and that's the final presentation. So I'm having you watch this video first thing this semester. There'll actually be a link to this video on the syllabus. Once this video is done recording, I'll actually go back through and edit the syllabus and add this link to it and say start here, okay? Your final presentation is going to count as your final exam. So each presentation is going to be 10 minutes in length. You get to create a video of yourself 10 minutes long presenting some material. Now you can do it in the format like I'm doing here, where you do like a PowerPoint and a shared screen, or you can go nuts. We've had students create their own Prezi documents and they're all dynamic and stuff, or some people go very basic. It doesn't matter, but it's a 10-minute presentation that you do. And so what we would like you to do is think of a topic within sex and gender and give us a well-researched presentation on that. So you'll notice that there are 2 things that you do. You need to upload a video as well as a document or some kind of power presentation, something that we can refer back to besides the video. And so you need to have 5 academic references. So these are books and peer-reviewed journal articles apart from your textbooks. Your textbooks don't count as references for this assignment. And then you'll also need to submit to us in advance some questions about your fundamental position. Sorry, not your fundamental position, your fundamental findings or the main idea of your particular presentation, because we'll combine those into the reading quizzes for your colleagues for that week. Okay, so everybody gets points. You get points for doing the presentation and so uploading your presentation and a supporting document. And the people who watch it take your quiz and they get some points too. Now here's some extra credit ideas. So it's this semester, I hope Vampire Penguin is still open. They were the other day. But Vampire Penguin, which is a little fancy shaved ice cream place, and then Culichi Kitchen, which is, believe it or not, it's a Mexican sushi joint. And they also have bomb tacos. I mean, oh, you can't lose at Culichi Kitchen. So if you need a vegetarian option, let me know. There's a vegetarian restaurant actually pretty close to my house I'm very fond of. So if you're vegetarian, Vampire Penguins could still count because they have vegetarian options. And what matters to me is it doesn't matter who spends the money to earn the extra credit. like if you get a Tinder hookup and it's all about, hey, hot person on Tinder, take me to this place, spend $30 on dessert or tacos, great, receipt, boom, good night, you know what I mean? I don't care how you do it. What's important is that we support these restaurants. Now, some people say, well, Matt, I'm taking your class from Guam. Can I support a local mom and pop joint? Okay, if you are in Utah counties or Salt Lake counties, you need to use these restaurants, okay? Apart from that, we'll talk. But if you are, say, taking this class from Japan or Italy, that's great. I'm glad you are. At the same time, though, I want you to find a place very few people know about, very few people go to, and support that place. Like Vampire Penguin has nearly had to close their doors a couple of times, and Kalichi Kitchen, they're struggling just to stay afloat. So the whole ethos of this is try to find places that are off the beaten path, that are struggling to survive, and supporting them. So here's the point down for your things. Now here's the accommodations information. If you need that, please get on that soon. We can't retroactively apply accommodations. Now, one of the things I would like to point out to you, although some of these modules are currently empty because course hasn't even started yet, you'll notice that Leilani went through and very carefully broke down what is due when week to week, okay? So there aren't any lecture quizzes early on. They're not uploaded. They will be uploaded starting the first week of class, and you'll be able to see those. We haven't produced those yet. And Leilani will also then be providing the links for other lecture videos as we go through. So that's our introduction to the sex and gender class. So I hope you will find it meaningful and informative. I certainly do. This is one of my favorite classes to teach, and wish we were meeting in person. I find that much more fulfilling and much more important, but we'll make the best do we can in this particular situation by having this course online. So I look forward to seeing you all, even if virtually, during the semester.